Brian Hennessy is a rolling billboard for recycling. Take a tour of Rocky Mountain Recycling, which he runs, and you'll see huge mounds of aluminum scrap, one of the materials that leaves this yard bound for customers around the world.
At the end of the day, recycling all the stuff keeps it out of the landfills. You don't have to mine virgin. You don't have the greenhouse gas.
More than half of this material is destined for export, and according to the Scrap Recycling Trade Group, more than half the U.S. aluminum scrap sent overseas last year, $1.1 billion worth, went to China.
It's a global consumer, one of the largest consumers of recycled material in the world.
On April 2nd, China retaliated against U.S. tariffs placed on steel and aluminum and included U.S. aluminum scrap metal on a list of products that were suddenly 25% more expensive. That's left many in the industry quite concerned.
Extremely. The scrap industry right now, unfortunately, is kind of caught in the middle in some of these trade disputes that we're currently seeing.
Joe Picard with the Institute of Scrap Recycling Industries says the tariff will cause some Chinese manufacturers of cars and other products to use new aluminum instead, which he says is 90% more energy intensive.
When you impose trade barriers, that can disincentivize recycling, and unfortunately more material could potentially be sent to landfill. And that's the last thing that we want to see.
He predicts the tariff will force many Chinese scrap buyers to look for other suppliers and U.S. suppliers to hunt for new markets, bringing in a period of uncertainty, which the industry doesn't like.
It can affect price, it can affect destination, it can affect material flow.
More than 500,000 people in the U.S. work in the scrap recycling industry in some fashion. Some of those jobs could be affected by what began as a U.S. move to rebalance trade between the two countries. Official U.S. figures put the trade deficit with China at $375 billion, although President Trump sometimes inflates the figure.
$504 billion.
Which is ironic, Picard says.
Scrap commodities are actually one of the few industries where we run a trade surplus with China.
Meantime, Hennessy, who prefers free and fair trade, is adopting a wait-and-see approach.
Well, we all hope and wish that we don't have anything that goes forward that would be negative. What's going to come out of this, I don't have an opinion, because it's akin to predicting the weather.
Given the current U.S.-China trade dispute, forecasting the fate of this material could be similarly challenging. Hendrik Sabrandi, CGTN, Denver.